Alright, so we have our basic environment set up, our text editor, our command line, all that. Now we're going to create a web server using Node.js and Express. Just a really simple web server that's going to serve static HTML pages. That's all we're doing right now. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're first going to create a text document, and we're going to call this app.js. Okay, actually, you know what? Let's call this server.js because that's what it is. All right, and we're also going to need a folder to put all of our HTML files and client-side JavaScript. So we're going to create a folder called client. Now we're going to need what's called a package.json file, which is basically a manifest that's going to have things like the app name, or the server name, or we're going to put our dependencies in there, the version, things like that. We could create it ourselves, but what I'm going to do is create it through the command line. So if you have git bash installed, you should be able to right click and you can see this git bash here. Alright, that's going to open it up in the current directory. Alright, actually, you know what I want to do is I want to put this in a folder called web server. Alright, so I'm just going to move this stuff into there. Alright, and then I'm just going to navigate to web server. Alright, let me make this bigger so you guys can see it. Alright, hopefully that's good. Now, to generate the package.json file, we can use npm. Okay, so we can say npm init, and it's just going to ask us a couple questions. The name of the app, which is we'll just keep as web server, so enter. The version, description, we'll just say simple web server. Entry point, this should say server.js since we have. Oh, you know what? I'm going to get out of this for a minute. The way that I have this is a brand new Windows installation, and by default, for some reason, they don't show you the extensions of the file. And you can see this is actually a TXT document. It's just not showing us the extension. So to change that, we're going to go to View, and then change folder and search options. And under View, we want this right here, hide extensions for known file types. We want to uncheck that. And now you can see it's actually a text file. So now we just need to delete txt. Alright, so now it's an actual JavaScript file. And let's set these to open with Sublime. Alright, so now JavaScript files are connected to Sublime. So now let's run that again, npm init. Okay, web server, version. Now you can see it's the default is server.js, and that's what we want. Okay, that's fine. Author, you can put your own name. Alright, so it's gonna, we have to confirm this is alright. And you can see it's basically just a JavaScript object or a JSON object. Okay, so now these are the client folder, and then these two files, that's all the web server is going to consist of. Alright, well, the client isn't really part of the web server. That's just where we're going to put our files. Alright, so let's open up package.json. We're going to open that with Sublime. Alright, let me make this bigger. Okay, so what we need to do now is we need to add our dependencies. And we don't have many. We need Express, and then we need a dependency, a module called body parser, which we'll take care of later on if we want to serve JSON content or anything like that. Alright, so let's go right under main. Okay, we want to say dependencies, and that's going to be an object itself, and we're going to need body parser, Okay, and then this here is the version. If you don't know the version, then you can just use an asterisk, and that just tells it we want the latest version. All right, and then we're going to need, actually that needs quotes around it. All right, and then we need Express. Okay, and then make sure you put a comma here as well. All right, so that should do it. Let's save that and then go back to the Git Bash tool. All right, and we're going to say npm install. Okay, what that's going to do, it's going to install those dependencies. All right, you can see over here it created a node modules folder, and inside that we have body parser and express. All right, we don't have to touch these at all. Okay, those are just the modules themselves. So now what we have to do is open up the server.js file and create the web server. All right, so it'll be like 20 lines of code or something, not bad. So we want to require our modules first, and obviously Express is the main module that we'll be using. So we need to just say require Express. All right, we're also going to need a module called path, which actually comes with Express, but we still have to require it. All right, and now the body parser. Okay, so now what we need to do is initialize Express. So we're going to say var app equals Express. Okay, so we need to set a port. All right, and you could just set this to a number, but I'm going to make it so that if we deploy with Heroku or something like that, it's going to select the correct port for us. So the way to do that, we're going to say app.set. Okay, so we're setting basically a variable called port, and then in here we want to say process.env.port or port 3000. All right, so we'll be working with port 3000. Now what we need to do is we need to set a path to the folder where we want to put all of our client-side HTML files and JavaScript. And we created a folder called client, so that's what we're going to use. Okay, so I'm going to say set static path, and we do that with app.use. Whoops. Okay, so I want to say app.use express.static. All right, and then we're going to use the path module that we included above. And there's a method called join, and then we want to put the path in. Okay, so we're going to use this dir name and specify the name of the folder, which we called client. All right, so that's all we have to do for that. Next thing is the body parser middleware. So this is just a basic configuration for the body parser. You don't really need to know how it works, it just has to be here. Okay, so we'll say body parser.json, because later on we're going to want to serve JSON content to our application. And then there's just one more line we need to do for that. So we want URL encoded, extended, true. All right, so that's it for that. Now we just need to start the server. So to do that, we'll say app.listen, and then we're going to pass in the port, and we can do that with app.get, because remember we set it above, so now we're going to get it. Port, and then we'll have a function. And this is just what we want to happen after it starts. So all we're going to do is do a console log. Okay, so we're just going to notify the user server has started. We'll say on port, and then we can concatenate the port number using the plus sign. So we're going to say app.get port. All right, so that should be it. Yeah, 20 lines of code exact, including spaces. So let's save that. And now we should be able to go to our command line and make sure you're in the web server folder, and we should be able to say npm start. Alright, so let's see, we have an error. Cannot find module body parser. What did I do here? Oh, the actual name of the module should be body-parser. Alright, let's see. Now the variable is fine to be camel case, but this needs the dash. Alright, so that should be it. Let's try it again, npm start, and we're going to allow access. You can see server has started on port 3000. So if we go and open up Chrome, we can go to localhost 3000, and we get this cannot get message, cannot get / which represents the home page. Alright, and that's because we didn't set up a route, but for right now we're only using static files, so all we have to do to get rid of that message is create an index file in the client folder. Okay, so let's just change this to index.html. Alright, and let's associate HTML with Sublime. Okay, so if we open that up, let's see, HTML tab will give us basic structure. We'll say web server test, and let's say it works. Alright, so if we go back, now we get it works. Alright, so now we can start building HTML, JavaScript, all that stuff inside of our client folder. Later on down the road, we'll talk about React.js on the server, because you can also run it from the server. But for right now, we're just dealing with client-side stuff. Alright, so that's it for this chapter and section, so I will see you in the next.